Kat. Happy
Hey,
Thanksgiving.
Martina. Happy holidays.
Thank
It's
you.
the start of the holiday season, and we decided we were going to come on here and do our very first Facebook Live together. So here we are and talk about the holidays and stress. Yeah.
We've known each other for so many years, and I have no idea what you do for the holidays. How do you celebrate?
Yeah, so kind of changes year to year. This year we're doing Thanksgiving in Denver, and then Christmas we fly out east to see my family. And then next year we travel for Thanksgiving and we stay home for Christmas.
Oh,
so
nice.
we kind of have a mix. There was one year with COVID messed things up and both things are on the same, so we traveled for both Thanksgiving and Christmas, and that was a lot.
That is a lot.
Yeah.
Especially travel is just so crazy around the holidays.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you look forward to the most, and what causes you a little stress?
I mean, I love the time with family, and I love traditions, and so we have a lot of holiday traditions that have been in my family since I grew up, and we always grew up with this humongous Christmas, and that's kind of continued. With aunts and uncles and cousins, and so those pieces I love, and just the getting together and spending time. And things that stress me out, definitely just like the pace, the fast pacedness of all the school things that happen, and all the shopping needing to get done, and the cooking, and the just like all of the pieces that feel like they need to fall into place perfectly.
Yeah.
How about you?
Yeah, I can relate to that. Well, we used to do the like switching back and forth. My family's in Virginia and my husband's family's all here. But we're just mostly here now for both the Thanksgiving and Christmas. And I really look forward to just everyone getting together. I think as like, all the grandkids have gotten older, and they've moved, and it's a time where everyone can come together, where it used to be we could see each other every Sunday at my mother-in-law's dinner, but there are quite a few that we don't see very often, so I'm excited to see people. And we also have a lot of traditions I love. And my husband's family, they're from New Mexico, and their Christmas Eve tradition is actually like the big event for Christmas. So we go to the midnight mass, and then we go back to my in-laws' house, and we eat tamales and pozole and bizcochitos, and we stay up late. We open presents, and just have a really good time. Usually, like my husband and I are driving home with the girls like at like 4 o'clock in the morning or something.
Oh my gosh.
Which was harder when we were parenting small children, because they would sleep for like 5 minutes and then they'd be like, Santa's here, They'd be like, ah. But actually, last year was the first year, I have 3 teenage daughters, right? That they actually slept in. So Casey and I were awake for like an hour before they were actually awake, which was the first time ever.
Wow.
So even got like a head start on breakfast.
Yes.
Because there's a lot to juggle. I think the stress for me is kind of that. I feel like the time goes so quickly too. Like, I have these big ideas of, I like to carry on the traditions that I grew up with too. And, making sure that, it doesn't have to be perfect, right? But like, there's like some elements that's like really important to me. And planning is not my forte, so that can cause stress just in and of itself.
Yeah.
And 2 of my 3 kids have birthdays during the season too, so there's that kind of like intermix
extra component. Yeah, I mean, I think like it's super important. One thing talking about managing stress is having realistic expectations. And I think for me, Christmas Eve is also big in our household. We do a lot of singing, Santa comes, there's a gift exchange, and then you roll right into Christmas morning. And I think I need to set realistic expectations for, like when we have Christmas at our house, it doesn't have to be all those things. And what pieces are the most important, not only to me, but to my kids, and what do we want to carry forward with us. And letting go of like, oh my gosh, we need to have this perfect Christmas or this perfect gift or whatever those things are, and just like letting that go can take off a lot of stress.
Well, I think there's a lot of pressure too externally. There's a lot of consumerism, just like really in our faces, and then there's like the demand to have a very Merry Christmas, like that kind of thing. We also do a gift exchange, which I think is helpful because I actually before this I counted how many people are in our Denver family, and that with significant others and lots of great grandchildren that have come. There's 20 of us.
Yeah.
So that plus setting a kind of a agreed upon cap for how much we're going to spend, I think is helpful. I think setting a budget for the holiday season is a really good idea. I don't know if my husband's watching this, but he'll probably think it's funny that I mentioned that I almost always blow out of past the budget, but I try. Because at a certain point, that financial stress catches up with me where I kind of start feeling sick about like, I really can't be spending any more money.
Yes. Yeah, I think you get caught up in like the holiday spirit and the spirit of gift giving, and then the January credit card comes and you're like, oh.
Especially for my children. It's like,
just
one more gift.
No,
cut it off.
Yeah, exactly. They don't need everything off their list every time.
No.
Yeah.
One thing we do too, like my sister-in-law is going to be hosting Thanksgiving this year. She has a new house, and I know that it's going to be very exciting for her to host all of us. But we share the food, like there's already text messages like who's bringing the green bean casserole, and I'm bringing the roasted vegetables, and just maybe dividing and conquering such
so
a
important.
big event, to take a little stress off of her.
Yes, and I think if you're hosting, I'm hosting Thanksgiving this year, and I know I can't do it all. And so like reaching out to the people coming and saying like, hey, could you bring this? Could you bring this? And making it more of a group effort than just feeling like you are by yourself having to do all the things.
Just thinking about food. What food are you looking forward to the most?
I love Thanksgiving. I love that there's like pieces of everything. I made, the last time we had Thanksgiving at home, I made this delicious salad that was like arugula and then delicata squash roasted, and then pomegranates and goat cheese and this maple vinaigrette. And
that sounds amazing.
Oh my gosh, I'll give you the recipe.
Yeah.
If I could figure out Facebook, I would put it like in the notes. Maybe I can try that. But it is so yummy and just hearty, and like I love the squashes and the root vegetables, and
they're so good for you.
How about you?
Well, gosh, I don't know what is my favorite. I am a big fan of mashed potatoes and stuffing. I'm actually not a huge fan of sweet potatoes in like the traditional Thanksgiving way.
Is that with marshmallows on top? I've actually never had that.
Yeah. As a kid, I would pick off the marshmallows and eat just the marshmallows.
Of course,
And I love pie. I usually make a pecan pie because I'm from the South, and I just feel like I have to represent. So I make a killer pecan pie.
Oh, nice.
Again, if I could post a recipe, I would. This is my first Thanksgiving on a GLP-1, and that's going to be an interesting journey for me because I love to eat, and that's the GLP-1's been very helpful for me in that, like turning the food noise down. But one thing that I've found is if I overeat, it's really uncomfortable. Yeah,
so you'll have to kind of have a plan going into maybe these meals where maybe you're taking like small amounts of everything so you can eat everything, but making sure that you're listening to that fullness cue of like, that's my limit. Or like eating a little bit and coming back to it later, or you definitely want to still enjoy everything. That's the beauty of these holidays, is there's all this delicious food, but certainly overindulging can be, on a GLP-1 can not feel great, and even off of one, people oftentimes feel like stressed out or upset with themselves because they overdid it in the holidays, whether it's with food or alcohol. And so being aware of that going in and kind of having a plan can be helpful.
I agree. Little bites of everything.
You don't want to miss out on anything.
No, I don't. I think too, when the sugar and alcohol, there's just so much of that during the holiday season, and I think it's tempting to really overindulge. There's so many like holiday parties, and but I really feel not so great when I am overindulging. I think like that sugar crash. I don't sleep great when I have too much alcohol.
Yeah.
Even just really 2 drinks, and I know my sleep is going to be ruined.
Yes.
So kind of planning ahead about how I'm going to take care of myself.
Yeah, I think planning ahead is a good idea. Being mindful while you're eating, like trying to slow down eating. And sometimes what can be helpful, like before a holiday party, is to actually eat a small meal before you go.
Oh.
Yeah, so then you're not going in there like, I'm starving, I haven't eaten anything all day, I'm going to eat all the sugar.
Oh, yeah.
And you're feeling like satisfied and satiated before you even get to the party.
That's a really good tip.
Could be helpful. Yeah.
You know what I read recently is that fermented foods can help reduce your stress.
Really?
Yeah, like kimchi and sauerkraut and kefir and all of that. There's something about, and there's that gut-brain axis, so I guess eat more fermented foods.
Yeah, maybe some kimchi on the side of the turkey this year or something.
A little fusion Thanksgiving.
Yes, exactly.
Do you have other tips that you give your patients for stress reduction? Or?
I mean, I always go to exercise for stress reduction, for myself personally and for patients. I think movement is really important. And I do, so traveling for Thanksgiving or Christmas, often I'm in locations where there's not a gym next door, or there's not, a class to take down the street. We're kind of more remote. And so really I focus a lot on walking. It's also a way to kind of get away, like if you need a break from your stressful family or situation or overwhelm, you can take a break and be outside, which is always really helpful, being in nature. And then getting those endorphins moving, getting your heart rate up, can just help so much with stress. So I tend to lean on walking. I sometimes will do like a yoga video, or sometimes involve the kids in it. I have 7 nieces, and so it's super fun to do like a group yoga class or a hike, or some way to just move my body always helps. So that's probably the biggest tip I give to patients as well.
That's a good
for stress
one.
reduction.
Yeah, I find I have like lofty goals when I travel, that I'm gonna, take all my gear and like do all the things I usually do, but I generally come back with all of those things unused. And just went to visit my folks this weekend, and I didn't have room in my suitcase to really take anything, so I did just go out for walks, and it was really nice. And, it was a good way to relieve stress too, to be outside. And I think sleep is really important too.
Yes.
And that's something, it's really how we respond to the stress of the holiday season, I feel like is antithetical to what our bodies naturally want to do right now. I think about like, so many animals hibernate, and even like I think the bear is so powerful, but even the bear takes time to rest during the season.
So true.
And yet we don't allow ourselves to rest because there's just so much go, do, and so I just really try to make sure that I'm getting my really high quality sleep.
That's awesome. Yeah, these mama bears need rest.
Yes. Really. I also think that it's a good way to cope with stress to practice gratitude, and think about, a couple of things every day, like just that you're really grateful for. It kind of helps lift the mood a little bit too, just to remind yourself of what you are thankful for.
Yeah.
Not just on Thanksgiving.
Yes, and that can be good, like when you're about to walk into that room of, maybe stressful family members, or when you're about to, embark on the travel day of managing planes and driving and whatever it is, to just really ground yourself in what is important here, and what am I grateful for with where I'm going.
Yeah. It brings you back to the present moment, the breath. And that's something that we can use to prepare for stressful events, or recover from stressful events, or even just like before you sit down to make your list of all the things that you're going to go shop for, or whatever you think about, like the planning of what steps do I need to do to get the Thanksgiving feast on the table? Just taking a moment, maybe just to take some very deep breaths.
It's a really good idea.
There's breath work, like box breathing, like the 4, 7, 8. You inhale for 4,
exhale
right?
for 7.
No, I think you hold for 7.
Hold for 7.
And then exhale for 8.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't know. That's kind of complicated. I also like heart math a lot.
Oh.
I was thinking that maybe we could talk a little bit about heart math and practice.
Yeah, that would be great. I've actually never done it. I've
that's
recommended it to a lot of patients
Thank
who
you.
have had so many benefits from it, and this would probably be a great time of year to learn how to do heart math. Yeah. That sounds great.
Oh, cool. Okay, well, so I guess I should start with what is it?
Yeah.
So it's breathing techniques, and the point of it is to get your heart rate in what they call a coherent pattern. And I'll explain what that means. But so heart rate variability is kind of very popular buzz term right now for good reason, because it affects your physical wellness, your cognitive wellness, even your mental and emotional health. And so it's really just the difference between your higher heart rate and your lower heart rate, because your heart rate is always kind of changing as your brain toggles, for example, between your sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system, like all the time, right? Even with your inhale and exhale, your heart rate is changing. So much is going on behind the scenes, like 90% of what's going on in your brain is like not even like in your awareness.
Right.
And so it's interesting because your heart actually is what tells your brain what to feel and what to think. It's not the other way around. The ancient cultures that believe that our feelings, our thoughts, our consciousness was in our heart, like the Egyptians, kind of had it more accurate than I think we tend to think of it now in our modern society. So the heart rhythm is what directs your brain's activity. So if your heart's rhythm is telling your brain that like things are not okay and you need to like mobilize to run from that bear, then your brain's going to respond accordingly. And so by manipulating your heart rhythm with these breathing techniques, you can actually reset and get out of that sympathetic kind of overdrive that so many of us are in. I mean, even outside of the holiday season, right?
Yeah.
I mean, all it takes is to sit in traffic on I-70,
Right.
or to like open your news feed, or like check your email, whatever. It's like
have your
there's
kids rolling their eyes.
Just a lot, Just being in a body in the 21st century is kind of stressful,
Yeah.
So these breathing techniques help your heart rhythm get into a cadence that they call coherence. And on biofeedback software, it looks like a sine wave pattern. And that is kind of like the magic sauce for your brain to just know that like it's all good. And the longer that you're in it, the better that you feel.
And so do you recommend people do these techniques like before opening that door for Thanksgiving, or is it like you're doing it when you're calm and you're practicing it every day and then your heart just knows what to do?
Yes.
All the things.
Yeah, so I'll explain. So it's really good. There's over 400 clinical studies that say that practicing heart math regularly will improve your heart rate variability, and that might be of interest to athletes, or even to researchers or marketers who need to be able to have clarity of thought and communication, like really digest or produce a lot of information. But for a lot of the people that we were talking to here in the clinic, it's really about the day-to-day managing the stress of living. And so you can use it when you're feeling really stressed. Like for me, I get like chest tightness and I find my shoulders are a little bit up, and I feel my body doing that. I'm like, oh, this is a good time to just, practice some deep breathing. But you can also make a practice of it. The studies show that really just 5 to 15 minutes a day, most days, like 5 out of 7, is enough to really positively impact your heart rate variability.
And that's like no time at all. I mean, think about like the amount of time that we spend scrolling mindlessly on our phone. You could take a smidge of that and do a little heart math, which would be way better for your heart and brain than spend that doom scrolling.
My guess is your heart is not in coherence when you're looking at the feed.
I am sure.
I think the point being that even if you just use it every time you're feeling like micro stressors, probably it's going to add up to more than 5 minutes a day anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't feel like really firm about how you have to make a practice of it, because most people's response is going to be like, I don't have time, that's one more thing I have to fit in, and that stresses me out.
It's stressful, yeah.
So maybe just like when you are in the moment of the stress, or to your point, preparing for it. So like 10 minutes before you open that door, maybe just take a minute to practice
it.
Or like maybe after, where you're just like, I pick up everybody's energy, and I feel really buzzy after I'm around a lot of people, and that can feel really uncomfortable. And so I can use this to try to like just calm my nervous system down a little bit. Like after something like Thanksgiving dinner, I might have a hard time falling asleep, even though I usually don't have any trouble falling asleep.
Yeah.
So it can be applied in so many different ways. Yeah.
That's really cool.
So should we practice it?
Yeah, let's do it.
So the first thing I'd say is, it's really good to have your feet on the ground. And before you start, maybe just, connect with your present moment. So like whatever happened earlier today is not here. And what's on your to-do list and is going to be happening later today doesn't matter. And so this moment is really just for you. And so, for me, I like to close my eyes.
Yeah, I was just going to ask, should I close my eyes?
You don't have to. And actually,
I actually prefer to, because if I'm looking at other things, I'm going to be like, okay, does that plant need watering? What's going on behind your head? Yeah.
It does help you focus. I will say, I call the first technique heart-focused breathing. I call that the Kegels of heart math, because you can
kind of do it.
You can do it. Nobody knows you're doing it. So you don't have to close your eyes. And I even find in the clinic, if I'm feeling stressed in the exam room about whatever, like maybe my own time management has gone awry, I can continue to talk to somebody, but do this technique.
Interesting.
But just for practice, it's also good just to kind of close your eyes so you can really focus on it. So the first thing that you want to do is connect with your heart space. So just maybe find your heart on the inside, or just kind of see if you can feel it from the inside. If not, you can put your hand on your chest, and that warmth of your hand can kind of help you connect with it. And then you're going to take long, slow, deep breaths, slower and deeper than you usually would. So I recommend like the count of 6 or 7 on the inhale and the exhale. You're breathing into that heart space. How does that feel for you?
Relaxing.
Right?
Yeah.
It's what really strikes me is that like peace and tranquility is like always there for you.
Right there.
Right? I mean, it just feels so good.
Yeah.
So simple, right?
Simple, and just really taking that time to just kind of go inside and letting all the external noise just fall away with. Yeah.
So that's heart-focused breathing, is bringing your attention to your heart space and taking long, slow, deep breaths into your heart space. That's it. Yeah.
That's awesome.
And again, you can do it with your eyes open while you're having a conversation.
Okay.
The other one is the quick coherence technique, and it basically builds on it. So it's the heart-focused breathing, but the added part to it is really what makes heart math, which is the renewing emotion. So they call it renewing or regenerating emotions, as opposed to depleting emotions. So depleting emotions are like anger, frustration, irritability, resentment, stress, like whatever that feeling, that's definitely depleting.
Yep.
And the reason why it's depleting is because when you're feeling those emotions, your heart rate is telling your brain, like, run from the bear.
Right.
And so you're pumping out cortisol, and it takes a tremendous amount of energy for your body to do this. And the thing is, you know, you would expect that you would need to do that if you're going to run from a bear, but you know, all these little times throughout the day that you're using that energy to cope with whatever is stressing you out is going to run you down.
Yeah.
So if you've ever had the experience where, like, I literally sat in a desk chair all day, why am I so
tired?
Exhausted?
Yeah.
It's because maybe while you were sitting in that desk chair, you were experiencing a lot of stress throughout the day. It just completely depleted you.
It makes sense.
So to shift from that kind of sympathetic, cortisol pumping sort of experience of the depleting emotions, you want to pick one renewing or regenerating emotion that you can access easily and actually experience it. And that's kind of, that's the catch. And that's kind of what it's deceptively simple, I guess is how you would say, where it's harder than it seems, because you have to actually feel it. And so the ones that they suggest you start with is either care or appreciation for a person or a pet or even like a beloved place or a tree, like whatever. Because most humans can actually feel gratitude. Pretty much everybody can think of something that they're grateful for and experience that sensation of gratitude. Unfortunately, not everyone can feel joy or love, which is sad, but it's understandable if you think about it.
Yeah.
So, you know, I also like to suggest, and this is actually the harder part, I find when people come for a second session and they've been practicing these two techniques, I'm like, what went well for you? What was hard for you? And I think most often the hard part is picking that emotion and being able to sustain the experience of it. So a couple other ones I like to throw out there is like accomplishment or pride. So not like prideful, but like, you know, like, did you ever just do something really amazing that you're just like really proud of, or you were recognized, you were given an award or something, you know, or you know, something like that can be also a really, really effective renewing emotion.
Okay.
You know, I think parents have it easy because you can just think about your child and the love that you have for your child.
Yeah.
But to be totally honest, I can think about my dog and I feel like
the same way. I know, Banjo.
What we'll do is we'll practice this.
Okay.
Do you have a renewing? You don't have to tell me, but do you have one? Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Thanks for the tips. I mean, I think gratitude is a very easy thing to go to, or accomplishment. Those are great tips.
Yeah.
That first when you said that, I'm like, can I access joy right now? Can I access? So it's helpful to have things that maybe don't feel so far out of reach. I mean, on most days I can feel joy, but if I'm in like a really stressful situation, that's not the emotion I'm going to be able to access.
It's a hard one.
Yeah.
And I think even too, if there isn't like a specific like name for it, it could even be like an amalgam of all kinds of emotions. Like sometimes I use the beach because I grew up on the beach, and it's really like such a special renewing place for me anyway, that it doesn't matter like, you know, the word for it,
right? But that's what you're gonna.
Yeah, like I can sit myself in that sand and I can hear the waves and the seagulls and my kids playing, and I can feel the sun, and I know like I feel so good there. I don't know the word for that.
Yeah.
But I can generate that. So as long as it's something you can actually like really feel inside your body, like I'm experiencing this right now, it works. Okay. Yeah. Okay, let's try it.
Let's try it. Okay. All right. Closing my eyes.
So you're gonna connect with your heart space. Once you are in touch with your heart, you're going to start taking those long, slow, deep breaths in and out of your heart space. When you're ready, make a sincere attempt to cultivate that experience of your renewing emotion. And if your mind wanders, that is so normal, and it's okay. Don't judge yourself. Just bring your attention back to your heart space. I invite you to come back into the space. How was that for you?
Really good. Yeah. I had like pictures in my mind of where I was, of where I was feeling the emotion of joy or gratitude.
So that's the one that's like a little harder to do when you're in the midst of like,
Sure.
maybe
Seeing a patient
or a difficult conversation.
Yeah.
It takes a little more effort. But in time with practice, it is something you could be able to do like that. But that would be a good one to like really work on. Like if you have 5-10 minutes, that would be something to do. The other thing I wanted to point out is what's called relational energetics. The bio electromagnetic field, right, that your heart produces is larger than anything else in your body. Like you're 60 times greater than the electromagnetic field that your brain is emitting. In fact, it can be measured up to 3 feet around you in all directions.
Whoa.
Yeah. So like right now, our electromagnetic fields are overlapping, right? So at a conversational distance, actually, my heart rhythm can affect your heart rhythm.
Interesting.
And by proxy, the way that you're thinking and feeling. And so, one aspect of that is when people are very, angry, dysregulated, just like throwing a lot of negativity at you, you can feel that, right? But you can also have the opposite be true. So like if you're at the table Thanksgiving and you and your uncle are having a really heated conversation, that could be something that could help diffuse it. So if you're noticing that other people are struggling, I mean, the holidays are not easy for a lot of people. For so many reasons, right? Like grief, right? It's a horrible time, holidays. Financial stress, like so many people right now are really stressed out about their finances, right? Or whatever. There's a lot of reasons why the holidays could be stressful, and coming into contact with all kinds of grumpy people is is possible. And being able to it's like shining your light, right? You can radiate that good feeling that you're having in your heart when you're practicing this to other people and actually make a difference. I mean, it's measurable. It's been proven time and time again in studies performed by Heart Math Institute. Yeah, it's really, really cool. So it's kind of like being the light.
It makes sense because I've definitely been in situations where somebody's like their rapid heart rate or their escalation I'm feeling. So if I'm staying nice and calm, I could see where, that makes sense to me that then it would emit to somebody else.
Yeah, it works. Yeah.
It's really cool.
So hopefully this has been helpful to you guys. You can try out, and maybe if you're interested in scheduling a heart math session or even Reiki. Reiki is helpful for stress in the holidays.
Energy
as well.
balance. And I mean, Reiki and heart math would be great, like in the midst of the holidays and then probably also afterwards, like that post-holiday recovery. As well as chatting with us about nutrition, exercise, kind of lifestyle modifications in the new year.
This has been fun.
Absolutely. Maybe we'll be back. We'll be invited again.
Hopefully so. All right, happy holidays, everybody.
Happy holidays.
Bye.